I'm Tessa, and I am partnering with Kid Made Modern, and I'm so excited to be here and to be teaching a fun Halloween class. We are going to be making these fun little haunted houses. We have a couple different samples, so we can kind of go over a couple different options for roof styles. But we'll go through all the steps. You can make your own little haunted house today, just in time for Halloween tomorrow. And if you have any questions for anything, Julia from Kid Made Modern is here with us as well. So you can put anything in the Q&A. The chat we won't be using, so just put everything you have in the Q&A and we'll be able to answer any questions you have. If you want to share any fun things that maybe you're doing for Halloween or different color combos that you're making your haunted house with, we'd love to know what you're making at home. So put all of that in the Q&A and we're going to get started. So first, I'm just going to go through our whole list of supplies that we're going to be using today. And most of all of this came from our Kid Made Modern Arts and Crafts Library, which obviously I got at Michael's. And you can get those there, and it has everything that you need to craft with. So we're going to be using just our wooden craft sticks. You might also know them as popsicle sticks. And in the library, they come with some that are already like stained colors. You could use colorful ones as well. For this craft, we are going to be using our Kid Made Modern paints. So we're going to be painting them ourselves, but that's totally an optional step. You could also color them with markers or crayons, or use pre-painted or stained ones from the kit. Then we're going to be using paint and paint brushes. And we're going to be using glue dots. You can also use white craft glue. So either of those will work today. Then we're going to be using some extra fun little details to decorate our haunted houses. So we're going to be using little fuzzy sticks, googly eyes that come in all different sizes and colors, as well as some felt. So I have these little felt strips. If you have bigger pieces of felt that you are going to use, that's fine too. We're just going to be cutting fun little details like doors or ghosts or bats out of our little strips of felt. And then lastly, you're going to be using some scissors. And I think that that's everything you're going to need. Oh, one last thing. I do have a black marker here. It's optional, but if you want to use a marker to make some fun little drawn on details like window panes, or you could draw little ghost eyes, any of those options you could use a marker for. And that's everything that we're going to be using. So with that, we're just going to dive right in. I'm going to flip my camera around so you guys can see what I am doing. All right, so to start, we're going to start with painting our wooden craft sticks so that those have time to dry. I'm going to move a few things out of the way here. And oh, I do have a sheet of just scrap paper. That's optional, but maybe you're working on your craft surface that you always work on. You don't have to worry about getting paint on it, but I always just throw a little piece of paper underneath. And so to make our little house here, we're going to use wooden craft sticks to make the entire structure of the house. You can see if I flip this over, I didn't paint the back. You definitely can if you are going to want to be able to see your house from both sides. But you see we have like stabilizer little wooden craft sticks on the back. So we're going to go ahead and paint 3 different colors. So for this one, I'm using 2 different shades of green and then a shade of black. That's going to be my base, and then 2 different shades of green from my roof. And this is just my color palette that I picked for this little house. You can do any color combos that you want. Maybe you want to go super traditional for Halloween and do orange and black. This little one is white and purple with touches of orange and black. You can do no wrong. Maybe you want yours to be hot pink and glittery. That's adorable. Or you want to go all shades of blue. Whatever makes you happy is what you should do. All right, so we're going to paint our little wooden craft sticks to start. And let's see here, for this guy, for the base, we're going to use 14 for this base portion here. And then we're using 8 to make our roof. And you could definitely make this a little bit smaller if you wanted to. So you don't have to use that many if you don't have that many craft sticks. that's okay. You could definitely make yours a little bit shorter. All right, so I'm going to take my black paint here first, and I'm just going to dip my paintbrush directly into my little paint jar. That's what I like so easy about these. But you can always pour some paint out onto your surface too. And I'm just painting the fronts of these. Again, if you want to paint both sides, you definitely can. Just wait a couple moments for them to dry before you paint the other side. Or you can always paint the back once you're done assembling it as well. So as we paint these, I'm just setting them down on my scratch paper here to let them dry. And you can also decide if you want to do more than one coat, depending on your paint. Mine's covering pretty quickly and nicely here, but sometimes some paints can be a little thinner. You might want to do 2 coats. I also sometimes like when you can see the wood grain through it too, so maybe 1 thin coat is good. And again, if you're painting your haunted house a different color, put that in the Q&A and let me and Julia know what colors you're using. Or if you've been to a haunted house this Halloween, I'd love to know about that too, since we're crafting our own little houses. Maybe you went to a scary one, or you're going to go to one in your neighborhood tomorrow. And I'm not worried about getting this paint on my fingers, as you can see. This Kid Made Modern paint is all washable, so it's no big deal, but you can also set your little sticks down before you paint the rest of it. So if I did more like this, I could then lay this down and then kind of paint the remaining bit to keep less paint on my fingers.
Hey Tessa, so Mary Lou says that she's using black and orange and green.
Oh, good color combo.
I agree. The green is always nice.
Yeah, I love that addition of green with all the Halloween colors. It always adds a fun little extra pop in there.
It's kind of like slimy.
Yes.
Goo or something.
Right? Think of like a overflowing cauldron of something.
Yeah.
All right, we've got 11 painted so far. We're going to have to paint a couple more here. So again, we're painting 14 for the base kind of square of our house. And if you aren't painting yours, or you want to paint it later, you can definitely paint it after you assemble it. So just hang tight. We're going to move on to making some of our decorations while we wait for all of our sticks to dry. Okay, we're good there. So we've got all of our black sticks painted. You can either wash out your brush real quick if you want to, or I'm just going to switch to a new brush here. And we're going to paint our green wooden craft sticks next.
Well, Kristen Morgan says that she has 3 kiddos who are also using green, but then red, orange, and purple.
Ooh, like the red combo in there. It's a nice bright color.
Yeah, that's gonna look good.
So I'm moving on to painting my green sticks now. And again, I'm painting 4 a dark green, and then I'm going to paint 4 a light green. That's just to give some fun color contrast on our little roofs, but you can paint them any color or all one color will work too. Right. We're going to open up our lighter green here.
Tessa, what do you like about using this paint?
This paint, I love that it is really opaque. So very rarely do I have to do more than one coat on a lot of things, which for especially a washable paint doesn't happen very often. So that's one of my favorite things about the paint. But then in general, I always love painting crafts. There's something that's just really like getting a little bit messy, but it's kind of fun, and that you can really get creative and customize something when you paint it. So often we, a lot of the materials we use come with things that are already certain colors, and you're kind of stuck with that. So when you kind of take it into your own hands to paint it, you can make it anything you can imagine.
Yeah, I really like that you can customize your colors. Like you could mix those 2 greens together and see what they come up. You could add a little black to it, or all these, they're just giving you the basics. You can make it anything you want.
Exactly. That's what's so fun about paint that's different than other materials and other supplies, is that, yeah, you totally get to personalize it. And it's fun to mix them too.
Yeah, you're a fast painter too. I'm sure being that as I am.
Yes, and if I am painting faster than you might be at home, don't worry, we're going to go through all the steps here. So if you're still painting some of yours, you'll have time to catch up. All right, so there we have all of our wooden craft sticks for our green and black haunted house. And I'm just going to wipe some of the paint off of my fingers here real quick. Okay. So I'm going to move these out of the way for the moment so that we have a little bit more space. We're going to let those dry. So that's whenever we're doing a painted craft too, I always like to start with the paint portion first. So that way you have time for that to dry and it doesn't get in the way when we want to start assembling everything. All right, so for this little guy, you can see we made some fun little ghost details, as well as then windows and a door. And those are all made out of felt. So we're going to use our felt here to kind of make some of these little decorations that we'll put on at the end. So we can make all of our decorations and set those aside while we assemble our house. So you can either freehand cut your little ghosts. We didn't use a template or anything like that. You can freehand cut it, or you can use your pin to draw on your felt. And to make a little ghost, you can make them 1,000 different ways. But I just kind of did a little wavy line and then a wider circle at the top and then wavy back down. So kind of almost like a little light bulb, a little blob. And then I added the little arms on after, so you can see on the back here, it goes across the back, but I like that it gives them a little bit more of like a three-dimensional look. So for that, then I'm just going to draw a little rounded strip basically. So these two funny little blobs will turn into a ghost. And you can do a couple different styles. You can definitely make them, again, any way you want. You could do a more just rounded top as well. And something like that could also be a little ghost shape. So as usual, there's no right or wrong way to make one.
What other kind of materials could they use besides felt, you think?
Yeah, if you don't have felt or you want to use something else, you could definitely use like a paper plate for this would be great. You want something that has a little bit of weight. So you can see here the ghosts, even though we're going to glue them on the back with glue dots, you want something that is a little bit thicker rather than just construction paper because they might fall backwards when you move your little house around. But a paper plate, construction paper, that like foam.
Yeah.
I always forget what that foam is called. Not foam board, but that thin foam that we use in a lot of crafting. That would be a great option too.
I was thinking of foam, like foam would be
Yeah.
great. You can find in any Michaels, or maybe around the house, maybe a paper plate or a foam plate or.
Yeah, any of those would work great. All right, now I'm just gonna cut out my little shapes here. And sometimes when I'm cutting out small things like this, I like to cut away any of like the extra bit so that I don't have all this felt or paper in the way. You can kind of get into the little angles easier. So you can see there's our first little ghost. We'll glue that together here in a second. But so this, like I'll cut this away from all the rest. A lot easier to manage. And then sometimes too, if you accidentally cut a little too far, then you don't cut into the other item you want to cut out later. And when you're cutting out felt or anything a little bit thicker, I always try to use the deeper area of my scissors. So sometimes if you use just the tip of your scissors, that it can be hard to control them and they can kind of just bend the material sometimes. But if you put it further in, closer to where the handle is, you have a lot more control of your scissors and you can cut through things easier. Okay, so there I have two different style ghosts. I'm going to use both of these options for our little haunted house, but you could definitely do them in a lot of different ways. And you don't have to make a ghost at all. You can definitely do other fun details if you want to do bats or a monster or smoke, cobwebs, spiders. There's a lot of different fun, haunted, scary things you can add. The little ghosts are just a fun detail. Okay, so then to do little ghost eyes, you can either draw them on, you can do googly eyes, or you can do felt cutouts, or you can just use a little fuzzy stick. So I'm going to use my fuzzy stick here. I'm just going to cut tiny little bits off. So you can see here, just a tiny little dot of fuzzy stick. And again, with the fuzzy sticks, I like to put that further into my scissors, just like you're doing with the felt. The further in, closer to your handle, will just cut right through the little wire in your fuzzy stick. All right, now we can assemble our little ghosts. Again, we're not going to add these to our house yet because we have to build our house still, but we are going to start with assembling our ghosts. So I'm going to use glue dots for this portion. You can use liquid craft glue as well. It will take longer for your ghost to dry with the felt. If you're using paper, then even a glue stick would work. But with the glue dots or with the felt, I think the glue dots are probably the easiest thing to use. And then with those little bits of fuzzy stick, I'm just putting a glue dot on the back and then attaching that straight on. And I'm using like a medium size glue dot. So sometimes it'll be a little bit bigger. You can see here, if you can kind of see this little clear bit is sticking out. I just kind of fold it behind the smaller thing. That's what's great about the glue dots. They're nice and pliable. And there you have a cute little ghost. So I'm going to set him aside and we'll attach our second one. And I'm just putting one glue dot or just like one drop of glue on the little middle of the arms and then laying that on the back. And then we'll do the same thing with our little fuzzy stick eyes. And again, if you don't have fuzzy sticks, you could definitely use just more felt, or you could even just draw on little faces. Or paint a little eyes on.
I like the fuzzy sticks because they give it some dimension.
Right, that's kind of fun. You can see even from the side there, they kind of stick out a little bit.
Personality.
Yeah. Okay, so now we've got a couple little ghosts here. So we're going to set those aside. We'll let those haunt over there for a minute while we make some more of our cute details. Our sticks are almost dry. Checking these last ones that we painted last. Looks like they're pretty dry. So we're just going to cut out our windows and doors and set those aside with our ghosts as well. So again, I'm going to take my little felt strips and I'm going to use white for my windows, but you could use any color you want. And I'm just going to cut a little strip off. It's about 1/2 inch or so wide, and I'm going to cut that in half. So I've got 2 little rectangles. And then I'm going to take my black marker and I'm just going to draw right down the center. And then again across, going the other way to create little window panes. And you don't have to make little panes, you could just have little cutouts as windows as well. So we've got 2 little windows. And then we're gonna do a little arched doorway. And for that, I'm using different color felt. You could use, I have like some purple, there's green, you could just do another white if you want. So you can use any colors that you want to. And I'm just gonna freehand this. And I'm just going to cut up along the side and then cut a little arch. So start to cut like a circle and then back down. So there you have just like a little archway. So we're going to set that aside as well. At the end, we'll add on some other little details that we can glue directly onto our house when we assemble it. Okay, So now that we've got all of our cute little details over here ready to go, we can assemble our little haunted house here. And we're going to be using glue dots, but again, you could definitely use white glue for this portion. And if you are, we're going to start first by laying our little sticks here this way. So I'm going to lay 2 wooden craft sticks going vertically next to each other. And then we're going to lay these on top. So you can see that these back ones are just going to be our support beams that we can glue everything to. So I'm going to take glue dots. I'm going to put 1 on each end. And then I'm going to line up my glue dot on both of these, starting at the bottom. So to start your house build, it should look like this. If you're using craft glue or white glue instead, I would just put some glue on these back sticks, and then you can lay all of your wooden craft sticks directly on top. And then we're just going to keep adding 1 by 1 on top of each other. You see, as we're building these up, we're just pushing them down next to each other as we go.
It seems like it gets sturdier too as you add more, right?
It does, yeah. At first, it can kind of start to like wobble a little bit, and now these back support beams can't go anywhere, so they're all stuck on together. And if you are using a white glue, just know that it might take a little longer to dry. So with the glue dot, there's no dry time. So I'm able to pick this up and move it around. But yours might take an extra couple of minutes for it to dry. So just don't pick it up quite yet. I'd let it kind of sit until, give it a couple minutes. Usually dries pretty fast with the wood, but just so it doesn't all fall apart on you and you have to rebuild. Okay, we're almost done. And right now it just looks like a big black square. It's going to look like a house pretty soon here. And there is the base of our house. You can see the back again, we didn't paint. If you want to, or maybe you did, that's great. But this is how it will look from the front. And then we're going to go ahead and glue on our roof next. And we're going to start, I'm just going to lay these out first to make sure. We want these to all be attached to our roof or to our base, but we want to make sure that it's covering all the way across to the middle point so that we don't have a hole showing. And then these ones will go over the other side. We are going to have to snip a couple of these at the top, and I'll show you that. So you can see here, just kind of lay them out first to make sure where we want to start gluing them on. And you can see here, we've got these couple that are going to stick out, and those ones are the ones that we'll trim a little bit off of. So I'm gonna, now I have kind of where I want these to start. So I'm gonna hold this side down and then move this away. And I'm going to start with my first one here. And I'm gonna add some glue dots to the middle. Since my stick's going to go off the ends, I want the glue in the middle, not on the tips of my wooden craft stick. And I'm just going to press that down. I'm going to pick up the one next to it, and we'll do that one next. And I am having them go up just a tiny bit. So you can see here at the on this end, they are just pushing up a little bit, so they're not totally lining up, and that gives us a nice little angle on the ends. Okay, so now we've got our 4 sides of our roof here. And I'm going to take some scissors. And I'm just going to cut through the tips of these. I just want to cut off a little bit. And I really only need to cut those top 2, because those ones are the ones that might show through from our overlapping ones. So it doesn't take a whole lot of pressure to cut through a wooden craft stick. But again, I'm going to push this further into the base of my scissors closer to my handle, and then just press down, and it should just snap right off. That might be a step that you need a little bit of help with from an adult, and that's okay if you do. All right, so now we're going to start layering on our other side. There we have it coming together here. So we can see by cutting off that those tips, we're not going to see that green poking through. So we have like a nice, perfect little roof line instead. All right. And then we're just going to go ahead and glue these on the same way we did the first round. We want to make sure we get our angles right on here. And again, I'm just kind of laying these down so I can get kind of where I want this to end up.
Those colors are electric on there together.
Aren't they so fun? I love this lime green. It's the avocado color. And it just is so fun.
It looks almost neon.
Doesn't it? I know.
That's some other good paint ideas for these, like something kind of fluorescent or neon would be fun.
Would be so cute.
Yeah, it looks good with the black. I like how the black looks too. It looks kind of weathered a little bit on the sticks.
Right. Yeah. I like that it's not perfectly like opaque, that you get a little bit of that coming through. I think it adds to our haunted house quality.
And I think that's the one thing to remember with these haunted houses is that, you know, they're haunted, so they don't have to be perfect at all.
Exactly.
They can be
a little rustic, a little rough, that's not a bad thing. That just adds to maybe its creepy quality.
Hmm.
And now for these ones, since they are overlapping, they're not going to be exactly flush the way the first ones were onto the black portion. So I am putting the glue onto the ends so that it is grabbing onto the highest points on either side. Flip this over to make sure if I need to add any extra glue dots back here. So there we have a nice little angled roof you can see here. And then from here, we're going to add all the cute, fun details, which is always my favorite part. And so we're going to start with our little door. I'm just putting a couple glue dots on the back. Again, if you're using liquid glue for your felt pieces, it's just going to take a little longer to dry. And
Hey, Tessa, so Chloe wanted you to recap how you cut the sticks again.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so here is a wooden craft stick again. And I just like to put it toward the base or the handle of your scissors. And then just push a little bit of pressure and it should just cut right through. And so these ones, I glued them on first, but you could cut them ahead of time as well. And so I just kind of cut through the top couple to make sure that they didn't show through the other side.
Yeah, and you might really need an adult to help you with that. That might take a little bit of strength there.
It does, yeah, you definitely have to put some pressure on your scissors. You can also start it with your scissors and then you can always snap it too, but that can also be hard. So sometimes a little bit of pressure, start a little cut, and then you can kind of break off the end too. Since we're not going to see this one, it doesn't matter if that's a little rough of a cut. You won't be able to notice that. Okay. So then from here, we got our little arch doorway on. We're going to add our little windows. And if you are doing different decorations, then this would be the time to start adding those on. And if you are doing something different, maybe you made little spiders instead of ghosts, let us know. Always love to get some inspiration from you guys. Okay, I'm going to glue on our little ghosts. And for these ones, I'm going to have this one kind of coming out. So I'm going to put the glue dot on the front of it actually. And then we'll attach it to the back. And this one, maybe we'll have it forward since it's got this fun little base of it.
Ooh, Mary Lou said that she made a spider.
Ooh, I am so glad someone made a spider. I mean, just can't go wrong with all the creepy crawly things for Halloween.
There's so many things to choose from. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Okay, and then I'm gonna take a little fuzzy stick, and this one I have like a little metallic one, but you could use any color or any style fuzzy stick from your arts and crafts library. And I'm just gonna outline our door with it. So I'm just gonna hold it in place on one end, and then I'm just gonna kind of bend it around the door. And I want to make sure that that's enough, and it is. So then I'm just going to put some glue dots on the back of it, and then we'll trim it once we lay it down. So you can see I have like hard to see the glue dots, but that little shiny circle, and then I'll put one at the top or like in the middle. And then one toward the other end. Now let's glue that down, and then I'm gonna flip this over and take my scissors. I'm just gonna trim that off. Okay, so now we've got our little ghost friends. We've got some doors and a window and windows. Now we can add all the googly eyes, and you can add as many or as little as you want. You could just do a couple big eyes on the top. That could be cute too. But I'm going to do a whole bunch of little googly eyes. I'm going to attach them all with a glue dot. So I'm just going to put one glue dot on the back. You could definitely do this with liquid glue too. You also might have some glue dots like these that come with adhesive on the back, because some of those come in with our Kid Made Modern supplies also. And those ones are great. Then they already have adhesive on the back. And then you can do all different colors. So all of these are from the Arts and Crafts library. So there's some that have like green backings or little yellow pupils or pink pupils. You can do any sort of color combos that you want. I'm going to stick with my green and black theme here. I'm going to add all different sizes of eyes too. That's what I think makes it feel like a fun monster creepy house, is if you add all sorts of fun different sizes. And I'm just kind of gluing them all over.
Hey Tessa, Mary Lou said that she also put a third window at the top, which is a really cool idea.
I like that idea. It kind of gives you idea of maybe a little attic at the top.
Yeah, I was thinking one of those round windows that out of those spooky houses.
Yes, that would be perfect.
I was also thinking about who lives in this house.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
a family, a friendly ghost or something.
Yeah, I mean, look at this little guy. He's clearly friendly.
Yeah, I agree.
He wants to hang out. He wants to go trick-or-treating with you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, what kind of candy do you think this house gives out?
That's important. I'm thinking it's sweet and sour candy.
I think that seems like a good idea.
Maybe some, what are those, Sour Patch Kids?
Yes. I would be down for that.
Right.
I'll take their sweet and sour candy.
What were those really sour ones that you put in your mouth and it's like,
Oh, the warheads.
yes.
Yeah. We used to eat too many of those until our tongues hurt.
Yeah.
All right, so again, I'm just adding more and more little eyeballs. And we're going through all the steps of this style today, but obviously there's a ton of different ways you maybe could have made your house. So if you did, we always love to see, can ask your parent or adult to share with us at Kid Made Modern. And we always like to see what you came up with and what colors and materials you used to make your own haunted house. See, we've got tons of little eyeballs all around the top of this. We have room for one or two more. I love the addition of the little tiny ones in there.
Yeah, you gotta have all different kinds. It's your
Right?
security system for the
Yes, lots of cameras. All right, and then I'm gonna do one more little one. I'm gonna put a little eye on our door as well. You can add them all over if you want, as many as you want to.
Mary Lou's also said that she put a neon green rim around the door and a big eye in the door, just like you're doing.
Oh, good call.
Well, you put a small one. I think she put a large one.
I know. Should I have done a big one? Do we like the big one better? We're going to go with the little one. But you can't go wrong. All right. So there you have it, your own little haunted house all ready to go. And these little guys do lay just flat. You can prop it up against a wall, but you could definitely create a little backing for it too if you wanted to. You could easily take just your glue with some glue and more of your little wooden craft sticks, and you can make a little easel for it. So that would be an easy thing to do if you wanted to prop it up. Maybe you want to make a whole village, I think would be so fun. So you can really get creative just in time to celebrate Halloween tomorrow, which is so crazy that it's already Halloween. But I had so much fun crafting with all of you guys and making these fun, spooky haunted houses. And I hope that you did too. And I hope you have a happy, happy Halloween. Thanks so much for crafting with us, you guys. We'll see you soon.